Hi, everybody. This is Marc Sims. Just asking a few questions. Just a few questions. I got my buddy Buttigieg on the line. Ben Joravsky is on. Ben, what's up?
What's going on, Marc Sims?
Yeah, hopefully I have all the levels are right and whatnot. You know, we about to go on the air, and I was like, "What's bugging you, Ben? What do we need to chit chat about? Your friend Pete Buttigieg or something else more?"
That's your friend. You love Pete Buttigieg so much you got a tattoo.
No.
It's Pete Buttigieg for president tattoo. Everybody knows that.
There's so much going on, but I do want the podcast to have some legs after we done.
What about legal marijuana? What's your position on
legal? I don't care about the legal marijuana.
You're opposed to legal marijuana.
No, I'm not opposed to that. There's so much stuff going on in Chicago. Then your president wants to have World War III, which is kind of scary. Hopefully they say the Iranians would do something. They're not gonna do something stupid, but they're gonna probably do some payback at some point, right?
President Trump is this may. I hate to say this is the lowest point of his presidency, but it was an act of war, and Mark, there's a part of me that thinks he just did it to force the Democrats to back off an impeachment. In fact, that's probably what we're going to be discussing tomorrow on the show. If I can tease.
Of course.
I know Monroe Anderson thinks that, and he'll be coming on Wednesday to talk about it.
People can find your podcast. All you can do is type your name. Spell your name so people can find your podcast. Spell your name.
It's not hard to find it, people. This is all you have to do. Type in my name to Google. It's the first thing that pops up, The Ben Joravsky Show. First name, B-E-N. Last name, J-O-R-A. V as in victory, S-K-Y, J-O-R. In fact, if you just start typing Ben Jur, all of a sudden, boom, it pops up. There's no excuse. You can find it.
And people who don't like politics are going to like this political podcast. They are, because you have fun.
Let's just promote when Marc Sims comes on the show. We talk about everything. Oh, like for instance, the Golden Globes. Did you watch the Golden Globes yesterday?
I don't want to talk about the Golden Globes, but your boy Sergio did get me to watch Eddie Murphy's movie, which was good.
Sergio Mims comes on at least once a month on my show. Probably the most astute film critic in the city of Chicago. And yes, he told me to watch Dolomite long before it was fashionable. He was absolutely correct, and it was an outrage that Eddie Murphy did not win Best Actor yesterday. He was up for it.
You know how that is. It's the foreign press.
Yeah, but it was ridiculous. They gave it to the guy. It was just they gave it to the guy who did Elton John. I saw that movie.
But I heard he was good though. The Elton John
guy
was
good,
really
but he wasn't as good as Eddie Murphy. In fact, that guy. There was one other person along with Eddie Murphy who should have won it, in my opinion, and got overlooked as well. So
it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure. Leo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Well, Leo's always good.
Which is one of my favorite movies of the year. It is my favorite movie of the year, and I think it may be Sergio's favorite or one of.
I think you said on your podcast you did a podcast with Sergio, all the top movies from 2019.
Yeah,
and I think you both agreed that was like one of the top movies of the year of 2019.
Yeah, so I was really upset that Eddie Murphy didn't win it because he was sensational in that movie.
We could talk about
maybe
movies.
He'll get nominated for it.
I know Eddie's the man, and he deserves something. I want to talk real quick. We can talk about. We got like 5 minutes, 10 minutes left. Pete Buttigieg. I'm sort of obsessed with Pete for a lot of different personal reasons, but I can't wait for him to for Nevada. Of course, first South Carolina, then Nevada, and Super Tuesday to see how he fares. What do you think he's going to do in the South and in the Nevada?
Okay. So really, I think the question you're asking me, without directly asking me, is whether black voters will vote for him. And
Latino voters, all kind of voters, but especially black folks.
When you talk about the South, though, that's primarily in a Democratic primary in the South. You're mainly talking about black voters because let's be honest, Mark. Most white voters in the South are Republicans.
Yes.
So they're not going to be participating in the Democratic primary.
Yes.
So votes in states like South Carolina will be driven by black people. And they'll be the determining factor. That's why I was curious that Mike Bloomberg, who, by the way, is going to be a force in this election, if for no other reason than he's airing nonstop commercials against Trump. But I was going to say it was curious. I think the first state that he's running in is Alabama. And I don't know how he's going to do in Alabama. I can't imagine him doing very well.
But he's rising. He's rising in the polls because he has so much money.
Yeah, your money. Your own people know his name, and those commercials are effective. I don't know if you've seen them. There's a commercial he has where there's a nurse talking about Obamacare, and how important it is to uphold Obamacare. And I think it's a really smart strategy. People don't realize this, but that Obamacare is under attack by Republicans. There's a lawsuit in Texas that would a judge has already ruled favorably for the lawsuit, and it would annihilate Obamacare. That lawsuit is being supported by Donald Trump's Justice Department, and so effectively Donald Trump and the Republicans are just trying to destroy Obamacare, and folks aren't even paying attention to it, Mark. Nobody knows.
No.
People don't. Ben Joravsky Show.
They ain't listening to this. Yeah.
So, but what Bloomberg is doing with those commercials is letting people know that Obamacare is under attack. And I think Obamacare is very popular. I mean, health insurance in general is popular. So
he's there if Grandpa Joe, Uncle Joe falters. If he falters, or if I'm surprised Bernie's is picking up steam. If Bernie keeps picking up steam, and Joe Biden falters, that's Bloomberg's way to get in.
Well, I'm telling you, he thinks he can beat Biden. I think. I mean, I can't imagine him throwing all this money in the race. By the way, are you feeling the burn these days, Mark?
No, I'm doing that Andrew Yang. You know that Andrew Yang, he the man. Andrew Yang's the man.
Okay, that's your guy. All right.
The election, if the primary was held today, that's what my little one vote is going to go to. He's not going to win, but I like the ideals. I like the energy. I like Elizabeth Warren, but Elizabeth Warren has faltered because she sounds like a professor. And let's face it, let's end this podcast talking about men and women. You know, you are a dad of 2 daughters. You understand what I'm talking about. And you have a wife. And so the point, you're surrounded by 3 women. Klobuchar and Warren is having trouble. I'm surprised Warren has slipped. She might come back. Klobuchar, if she doesn't win and do well in Iowa, she's done. She doesn't do well in a neighboring state. Forget about it. But what I'm saying, though, what's wrong with this American public voting? I know they voted for Hillary. I understand that. But, it's a no-brainer. We should have a woman president. We should have a female president. And we have 2 people are capable, and we're voting for the dudes. What's up with that?
Yeah. I'm hesitant to say. There's so many people around me, Mark, who tell me that America won't vote for a woman for president. And I'm not talking about sophisticated analysts of politics. I'm talking about just rank and file people. This is a prevailing attitude that I confront virtually every day that I have a conversation with someone or other. They'll say, a woman can't get elected. I hear this. I can think of several people, but they're not well-known political prognosticators or followers of politics, just ordinary people. And there's this prevailing notion that's very politically incorrect that people sort of whisper about when a woman cannot win. And I'm hesitant to embrace that, but then I'm baffled by the fact that Donald Trump was able to win in 2016. Now, I know Hillary won the majority of the vote, but Donald Trump won in some swing states, at least 4 swing states that Hillary should have won. And we all know that the exit polls show that over 50% of white women voted for Donald Trump. I just find that a very disturbing statistic. I think I do think there's a lot of people out there who won't vote for a woman for a position of power and authority like president for whatever reason.
It's just hard for that.
Right.
Once you get that one woman in, then that it breaks the glass ceiling, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not a big fan of Klobuchar, but she did pound Pete Buttigieg, saying something like, if Mayor Pete was a 37-year-old woman, he wouldn't be, she wouldn't be as touted as much as Mayor Pete, which is something to that effect. And she's right. Yeah. I'm not she seems kind of mean, but if you want a president, you want somebody kind of mean, right? I'm talking about Klobuchar, right?
Yeah, she's on my list. She's in my top 5.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of her because something about her I don't like. She doesn't seem warm and fuzzy. But, sometimes you don't want that in a president. And Elizabeth Warren is fine. She's trying to back off of Medicare for all, which is not going to happen for another 20, 30 years, people. I think you should push for it and work for it, but actually doing it legislatively is going to be really a tough haul. But she'll be okay president. I just think this country you have to be the right woman, whatever that means.
Well, obviously, Hillary Clinton wasn't the quote unquote a right woman, although she did win the popular vote. When you talk warm and fuzzy, there's nobody in this Democratic pack that I would consider warm and fuzzy. The closest we get is Joe Biden. And you asked me about Mayor Pete. I got a lot of doubts about Mayor Pete, and I say this largely because, and you may say I'm unfair to him, but largely because I don't understand how a man could be mayor of a town like South Bend, which has a significant number of black people in it, and emerge acting so clueless about race in this country. You would figure that that would be his expertise. You would figure that a guy who comes from a city like South Bend, which I don't know, it's like 25% black, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it has a significant number. You would think that this would be a strong suit, that he had grown up around black people, that he had dealt with black people. And yet he seems so clueless.
Well, there was
the whole issue.
It was a great article. I think you sent me that article. Maybe you did, about his relationship with Renee Ferguson. Renee Ferguson, a former TV news reporter here in Chicago, was a great story. Yeah. But the thing about it, he doesn't seem like he has a lot of black friends. You know what I'm saying?
Well, even if he doesn't, let's put it this way. Let's say he has no black friends. But as the mayor of South Bend, put aside friendships, just got to deal with black people. They're in the school system. But he just acted like the other day, like he just learned that schools are segregated in this country. You have to deal with issues of economic development and inequities. And he just woke up and acted like, oh, my God, I just learned that there's inequities in this country. It's a very bizarre thing. I don't quite know how to explain it. So
we gonna see what happens.
I don't believe he's gonna get any significant
without black, and they're arrogant. Well, you know more black people than Pete Buttigieg. I'm telling you right now. You know more black folks than I do. More African Americans in this town. I've met people and met a whole bunch of new African American friends because of you. You know a lot of folks. Benny J, you know a lot of folks. But I'm saying, though, it's really quite sad. We'll see what happens. And the whole key, like I tell folks, is that Mayor Pete wins the nomination, I'll vote for him. If Amy Klobuchar wins, I'll vote for Elizabeth Warren, Bernie, whoever wins, I'll vote for him. But this is time to have it out and lay it all out. And then primary.
Well, can I take the opportunity to promote my next First Tuesday show?
Not really, because it's not really worth it. You can mention it in the abstract. You're going to have a debate between. Keep going.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. It's going to be a great debate.
But the thing about it, people can see it on Facebook long after it's over. They'll find it. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and we're going to download it as well on the show. So
they'll see
Carlos Ramirez Rosa versus Brandon Johnson, and Carlos will be representing Bernie Sanders, and Brandon will be representing Elizabeth Warren. So it's going to be a great debate. I believe I'm with you. I'd support any Democrat over Trump. And,
the whole thing, whether it's your show, I'm winding this up. Whether it's your show, your First Tuesday show, they can see it on the social media, on the Facebook. They can just look it up, First Tuesdays and Benny J show. You're easy to find. Just people have to take the time to click the links and enjoy the show.
Thank you, sir.
I really believe it, because you got me. Like I told you before, I stopped listening to a lot of NPR because of your program. And anybody who wants to learn about politics, Chicago politics, Illinois politics, national politics, you got that dude that lives not too far from me, from In These Times magazines, Miles Kauflatham. How you say his name?
Kauflatham. That's good.
I would love to have a moment. I can't say his name. He lived down the street from me. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, though, is that people have to get into the politics, even on a cursory level. And please vote. And hopefully the Democratic Party will try to get all these people in these states like Ohio and Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin Wisconsin to go out and vote in the primary and in the general because this is serious business. What do you think, Ben?
Absolutely.
All right.
Go ahead. This election is pivotal, Mark.
All right, I'm getting the call. I gotta go to the next episode. Yeah, I know how. I gotta go, Ben. You the man. I gotta say goodbye. Benny J, man. You the man, Ben.